So I'm recording a reading for YouTube for the stream. And this is a collective reading for everyone. Oh, and the devil card comes out. That's so funny because we had the first collective reading was basically about just a whole lot of darkness, or just kind of the nature of darkness, or the ability to kind of see yourself witnessing things that you enjoy, that being something that attracts more things that you enjoy. And also that kind of general rule of things being a kind of a reason to have fear of seeing yourself witnessing something a bit darker about yourself. We can kind of get afraid of it because what we would do then, we kind of already know that if we see ourselves witnessing something dark about ourselves, we'd be attracting more darkness like that. And it's like, well, why would I want to do that? And the reasoning we got in the first reading was a lot about, because the more you shed light on darkness, the more it becomes light. The more you draw the darkness into the light. So you are light. You are a being of light. That's kind of what we've got here. But to only be a being of light is to, what's that saying that I really like is too many whites on the teeth. I like that one. It's just a smile that's just a bit too big, and it kind of feels contrived at a certain point. We can be all happy-go-lucky, and at a certain point it starts to feel a little bit more like an episode of Teletubbies than a real life. So the devil card is here. The devil card is here is something that's maybe unacknowledged, or in the Three of Swords, which was that very first card that we got to indicate darkness. So there we go. I feel like we're on point with the message. There's something about the devil being somehow, it's kind of like a what about that side of us we know that kind of gets hooked in to darkness, like, what's it called? When somebody has a car accident, or there's a car accident, and you have to look, because there's a part of us that just kind of wants to see the carnage. It's that same kind of thing. It's just that we know that we have this kind of tendency to be voyeurs of something dark. And there's maybe a what if going on here. It's kind of a reason to still have fears, that there's something addictive about it. The Four of Rods. We can start building a home soon enough out of all the things that are dark. Three of Swords is really like this space of being hurt, this space of having so many reasons for things. I feel like Sentinel's reading, so if you are watching this on YouTube and you want to actually just circulate back to Sentinel's reading, this has got something to do with Sentinel's reading. This is about, I'm just kind of pointing out something, that we have this kind of rationality about it, like that we have all these things and we say, this is why it hurts, and that's why it hurts, and that's why it hurts. And we start accounting for all of the different reasons why it hurts. But it's kind of like a really interesting thing that we do, because it's not at all how things end up looking when they're not in this position. Like when we're not in the position where we're experiencing hurt, we're not accounting for every single last thing, or we don't believe ourselves to be capable of accounting for every last detail. We don't experience something wonderful and say, this is wonderful because of this and this and this and this. All of those things put together, added to this wonderful moment. We kind of understand in the wonderful moment that when we start accounting for all the things that led to this wonderful moment. Now, there is gratitude, of course, but it's kind of like at a certain point you can kind of understand that we're taking away from experiencing that moment. When we're thinking about all the things that led up to this moment, we're not thinking about this moment, we're thinking about all the things that led to here. So in the darkness, or in a kind of darker sense, or like in a thing that we might not want to apply that same rule to, for some reason, we might still give ourselves this impression that we can account for all the reasons why. And for some reason, when there's pain, we kind of forget about that idea that we could never account for all the reasons why. And we kind of get locked into, it's almost we make a nice dark home with our devil, a nice dark home where we feel right at home just sitting here counting all the reasons why we feel the way we feel. Three of Swords sure wants to spend some time on the table today. Yeah, it sure does, Beasto. This is an interesting kind of way of looking at things. And look at this Two of Rods. So you'll have to go back to Sentinel's reading to see what we got in this position. And Sentinel's reading, this is a much simpler version of the spread that I did for Sentinel, but this is like that we got the Knight of Rods here, and this is the Two of Rods. This is kind of like a whole other side of it, but at the same time, it can almost be layered on top. The Knight of Rods was here to tell us in Sentinel's reading about the idea that, like, really when you think about it, as you're experiencing things, you're just doing stuff. And you're not thinking about all the things that you have to do. You're not accounting for all the different things that happened up until now and all the things. Like, the idea that we could ever possibly do that is kind of ludicrous, you know? Like, we don't actually experience that in reality. It's an illusion that we create for ourselves for some reason. And sometimes it's like it makes sense almost that we create that illusion because we're trying to play by the opposite of the rules to keep something in the dark. The rules of the light are such a certain way, and we have this misconception that the rules happen in some opposite kind of way, that we're in some kind of world where everything is backwards or upside down or something like that, where really it's like we're maybe not so much in charge of how this stuff happens. It just kind of happens. Like, it's how our brains make sense of things. Is just, well, if it's not going to be in my awareness, then it's got to play by different rules. And so when we start shedding light on these things that are in the dark, we start noticing that we've been kind of operating under some pretty strange rules that don't quite make sense in the light. It's the same thing with Two of Rods. Not only are we just kind of doing stuff, Knight of Rods, we're also kind of just like hoping for the best. There's this idea here that we're accounting for all the different reasons why we feel the way we feel right now when it's in the dark. And we make a nice, happy home out of this kind of like complete package, this like very fancy picture here that we've made. This is why I feel this way, story told, you know, complete. What about hoping for the best? Where does that factor in here? You know, there's something about we have aspirations and dreams about the future. This kind of leaves us stuck and still. This leaves us with a story, a sentence, or with a period at the end of it. Well, what about the rest of the story? Where does it go from here? Unfortunately, this strategy of kind of like telling the story and accounting for all the reasons doesn't account for one of the most important things that we could do, is imagine where we go from here. It kind of leaves us incapable of imagining. So there's something about bringing it into the light so that we can imagine where to go from here. Because the darkness won't do that on its own. It won't, like, if we leave something in the dark, if we leave something to kind of like, you know, just fester away and like push it away, we don't want to think about it, we want to maybe question it or anything like that, then it's going to play by these rules that really eventually, okay, yeah, they don't make sense, but, you know, what am I going to do? Like, I can't like stop myself from doing these things. That's maybe something you might say, like, it hurts, and I think about all the reasons why it hurts. I mean, I don't even try to do it. It just happens. It's just a reaction. Bringing it into the light is a matter of consciously imagining where it goes from here. Oh, did things drop out? Did the stream drop out? Seems to have dropped out. Good thing I'm recording this because I wasn't even looking. Oh yeah, looks like it dropped out, didn't it? Ah! Oh no. Well, that's the collective reading. I don't know what else we're going to do. So I'm going to stop the collective reading there, and I'm going to figure out what's going on with the stream. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. Bye.